In this video, we're going to unbox a NAS that has better specs than my mini PC and it costs less than a PlayStation 5. And that doesn't make any sense to me. So here's the problem with NAS devices. They're either really expensive with amazing software or they're cheap and frustrating to use. There's never been a middle ground, until maybe now. I'm Zino, and on this channel we dive into the latest tech and smart home gadgets. Now before we go too deep, let me get straight with you. TerraMaster sent me this F4-425 Plus to check out. But here's the thing. They didn't pay me, they just said, hey, here's our new NAS, tell everyone what you actually think about it, no strings attached, I get to keep it, but that's it. So what you're about to hear is the real deal, the stuff that works great, the stuff that annoyed me, and whether this thing is actually worth your money or not. Because when I first saw the spec sheet, I thought it was a typo. This has hardware that usually costs double. So I'm gonna test this out and figure out what's actually going on. Let's get into it. Okay, first thing, let's pull it out of the box and see what's going on here. Just gonna get up. So we've got a small box. Let's see, open it up. In there we've got probably the power brick in here. And it's the power brick. And it's 90 watts. So interesting. And where's the power cable itself? It must be in the other box. And we've got some documentation, always nice to have, which I never read. And the other box right here contains the power cable and a bag with a Ethernet cable. Nice that they include that. And it doesn't say which Ethernet cable, but that's fine. And what else? And we've got some screws right here. So it's all completed right here. Then we got the NAS device itself. I'm carefully taken out of the box. And wow, this thing is surprisingly heavy. Let's check it out. And I'm just gonna put the box on the floor. And there we go. So you don't put it, do you put it like this? Like this, so you can, no, it's like this. Yeah, I believe it's like this. Yeah, it's like this, but they've put the names on the side right there. So this is how it looks. Pretty clean to me. It's surprisingly heavy, honestly. So most NAS devices in this price range feel like toys. Plastic shells with a fan inside. This has a full metal body, aluminium everywhere, and it's got this texture. Hard to describe. It's not smooth, but it's not rough either. Kind of like a brushed metal, but finer. It feels premium. It has 4 drives on the front. I believe you slide them out. Yeah, there you go. So this is quick and easy, no tools needed, I believe. And you just slide them back in, and that takes like 10 seconds. No lock on them though, so once they're in, nothing stops someone from just pulling them out and taking your data. Weird choice for a device that's, yeah, pretty important with your data. Then we flip it around and oh, we've got, oh, I didn't even see this. There's not 1, but 2 Ethernet ports, and both of them. Now, I have reviewed a ton of NAS devices, but I've never encountered one with dual Ethernet ports that each has 5 GB ports. That's actually insane, especially for this price range. Usually you might get 1 5 GB port and 1 2.5, but they chose for dual 5 GB ports, which is impressive. There's also 3 USB ports on the back, 2 USB-A ports that are 10 gigs, and 1 USB-C port, also 10 gigs. That's also interesting, and an HDMI port. And on the front, we've got the power button and another USB port, and you've got these LED lights on each NAS. Interesting. So basically you can put in 4 drives, but I believe when you open this bad boy up here, these 4 screws, you can slide it up and you can add 3 more M.2 SSDs. So let me just showcase that quickly. And I'm gonna grab my screwdriver and we're just gonna open it up. It would have been more interesting to just have it here, maybe on the side when you open it up, I guess, because now you gotta unscrew all these. It's a bit of a pain for me, but it's a one-time thing, of course. And we get to see the inside also, which is always interesting. There you go. And I believe now we can slide this either up or down. It's gonna be down. So this is the full body metal. I really like this. And I believe this side, the front and back, is plastic, I believe. And we've got the M.2 slot. So on this side we've got nothing, and here you can actually put in the M.2. So we've got 1, 2, and 3, and we've got 16 gigabytes of RAM, which is amazing. Usually it's 8 or 4. 16 is amazing. So I'm really digging that. And yeah, you have the option to add 3 more drives plus the 4 drives, 7 drives in total. Now let me slide this thing back in carefully. And I see they also got the TerraMaster app. There's a QR code right here. So I didn't have that yet. I've already reviewed the F8 Plus before. I didn't know they had an app. Maybe that's new. And I'm gonna go and add 1 drive to it, and let's see what happens. Now let me walk you through quickly what's actually inside this thing, because the numbers are kind of insane. It's got an Intel N150 processor. That's a quad-core chip that runs at 1 gigahertz normally, but it can boost up to 3.6 when it needs to. It's also got hardware video transcoding built in, which means it can handle 4K video streams without even thinking about it. Even 8K, I think it should be possible if you really want to get into that. And then there's the 16 gigabytes of RAM I just showed you. DDR5, not DDR4. So DDR5 is the newer, faster stuff, and you can upgrade it to 32 gigabytes if you really want to go crazy. For comparison, most NAS devices at this price range come with 4 or maybe 8 gigabytes. This has double that right out of the box. So storage-wise, you've got 4 bays for regular drives or SSDs, and each bay can take up to 30 terabytes, so that's 120 terabytes right there. But then add those 3 M.2 slots that can reach and take 8 terabytes per drive, and you're looking at 144 terabytes total. That's a stupid amount of storage, but with those 2 5 gigabyte Ethernet ports, they can work together and link together. So theoretically you could push over gigabytes per second through this thing only. That's faster than most people's internet connection at home. Now here's the catch: that Intel processor only has so many PCI lanes to work with, which means those M.2 slots are limited to around 900 megabytes per second each. That's still really fast, don't get me wrong, but it's not as fast as the absolute top end stuff. Think of it like this. It's like having a really fast sports car, but it's limited to 150 miles per hour instead of 200, which is still fast, but not the maximum you can get. There's a ceiling. All right, enough talking about specs on paper. Let me see and find out what actually happens when we load this thing up. So I'm gonna get a drive, and I believe this is number 1. And hopefully this is... Can we do this without screws? I believe you can, yes. So it's the same thing that I believe Synology also has this. Just hook it up and put it in. So you don't need to use any screws. And I really like that. I'm just gonna do on the other side also. You just click it in. There you go. When you hear that click sound, you're good to go. And I'm gonna slide it in. So this is plastic though. Feels a bit flimsy, but we can work with it. There you go. Okay, so we need to hook up the Ethernet cable and the power cable, and yeah, we can start it up. Let's go. So I loaded it up with the drive, and I wanted to do a few basic tests. First test was really simple. I transferred some heavy files, 1 gig, 5 gigs, and then 10 gigs. Super fast transfer speeds. And I'm using a 1 gigabyte Ethernet port cable. So I'm not even using it at full capacity. Imagine doing that if you have a switch line around with 5 gigs. Amazing. So the speeds are really fast. And then I wanted to test some streaming, so I set up Plex and threw some 4K movies, 40 gigabytes, 80 gigabytes, and even 90 gigabytes on 3 different devices, streaming it at the same time: my TV, and a tablet, and my Beamer. And honestly, it didn't even blink. Smooth playback on all 3 devices. No buffering, no stuttering. That hardware transcoding is legit. Next, I tried something more intense. I set up a few Docker containers and they all ran really good, even with me streaming in the background and doing some file transferring. This device is legit good. But keep in mind that N150 processors can only do so much at once. So if you're planning to run a ton of virtual machines or heavy Docker containers, you might want to manage your expectations. Power consumption was actually surprising tough. I plugged it in the power meter, and with 4 drives installed and actively being used, it was pulling between 45 and 55 watts. That's less than a light bulb. When the drives weren't being accessed, it dropped to around 30 watts. Pretty efficient. Noise level in a quiet room, you can definitely hear it. There's a fan in the back and the hard drives make that classic spinning sound, but it's not loud. I'd compare it to a bit louder than a mini PC, but much less than a desktop PC running on high settings. So you'll notice it if you're paying attention, but it fades into the background after a while. Heat-wise, the aluminum body does a good job. Even after running it hard for hours, the outside never went hot, warm to the touch, but not uncomfortable. That metal chassis is definitely earning its keep. Now, let's talk about the operating system, because this is where things get complicated. It runs TOS 6, which is TerraMaster's own software, and I'm just going to be honest with you, I believe it has some kind of Windows vibe, so that's really good. If you're familiar with Windows 11, then it's very easy to use. You get this dashboard that shows you your system stats, CPU usage, memory, storage, network activity. It's all there. The layout is fine, nothing groundbreaking, but nothing confusing either. Setting up a storage pool was straightforward. You pick your drive, choose your RAID configuration, and hit go. I used it multiple times with 1 drive and then 4 drives. With the 4 drives, I chose for RAID 5 for some protection, and it only took about 30 minutes to build the array. Pretty standard. Where it gets interesting is in the App Store. There's a Docker support built right in, so you can install basically any app you want. Plex, Jellyfin, all the home automation stuff, it's all available. There's also a cloud sync built in, so you can connect this to Google Drive, Dropbox, and OneDrive, whatever, and it'll automatically sync your files back and forth, or in real time syncing together. I tested this with my Google Drive and it worked fine. Set it and forget it. It's that easy. And the photo backup app is actually pretty decent too. It has an AI face recognition that works better than I expected. I uploaded about 1,000 photos and it correctly identified me in most of them. Created automatic albums sorted by person. Not perfect, but better than nothing. Now, after testing it good, here's what I want to tell you. First, the hardware value is insane. Dual 5 GB Ethernet ports, 16 GB of DDR5 RAM, 3 M.2 slots. You would pay hundreds more for these specs on a Synology, for instance. TerraMaster clearly just threw as much hardware as possibly into this thing and let it speak for itself. Second, the build quality is legit. That aluminum body, the way everything fits together, the cooling solution, it feels like a professional piece of equipment, not a consumer gadget. Third, the flexibility is real. 4 drives plus 3 M.2 slots means you can set this up however you want. Use the hard drive for bulk storage, use the M.2 for caching, or run them as separate pools, or RAID them together. The options are endless. Fourth, media streaming just works. Plex runs great on this, and I use Plex every single day. 4K transcoding is smooth, even when multiple people are streaming at once. If you're building a home media server, this has horsepower. And fifth, it runs cool and quiet, even under load. It's not loud or hot. That's good engineering. Now, things to consider, because it's not perfect. The CPU can bottleneck. If you're running a lot of virtual machines or heavy container apps, you'll feel it slow down. It's Great as a NAS, decent as a light server, but it's not a beast. Those drive trays have no lock-in mechanism, anyone can just pull them out, and for a home setup it's probably fine, but it feels like an oversight. And I guess that's it. It's basically a good NAS device, especially for home users that's using their home server, a Plex Media server, as this, it's perfect. And I guess that's it for things to consider. It's a decent NAS, but let's move forward to price. Right now, it's on sale for $455. Normal price is $570. Let me put that in comparison. A Synology, similar features, costs around $600 and comes with only 4 gigs of RAM. And a QNAP has similar price, but has less RAM and slower networking. This has more RAM, faster networking, and more expansion options than both of them for the same money or less. The trade-off is basically the software. You know, it's not Ugreen software or Synology software. It's their own software, and it's getting there. But again, for first-time NAS users, I believe this is a perfect software because it's easy to use. It has some similarities to Windows 11. So back to start. How does TerraMaster pack this much hardware into something this affordable? After using it, the answer is simple. They put all the money into hardware and made the software good enough. And for a lot of people, that's the right move. So if you're interested in buying this NAS, don't forget, I'll leave the links in the description and you can get one for yourself. So that's the TerraMaster F4-425 Plus, a metal box full of hardware that honestly shouldn't exist at this price. If this review helped you, hit that like button and drop a comment below. When you're buying tech, do you prioritize spec or user experience? I want to know. Let me know in the comment section. Thank you all for watching, and don't forget the links are in the description. Goodbye.